Thank you for the great presentation. Now I would like to introduce you Martin Драховски. He graduated in 1975 at Slovak Technical University Bratislava, Department of Architecture. From 1975 till 1991, has been working in Sport Projekta, Kosice branch, architecture office specialized for the sport facilities and all varieties of non-habitat facilities such as office buildings, shopping centers, and so on. From 1979 till 1982, working as an expert for urban planning and architecture in Bulgaria, in Serev and Amsila cities. 1 year teaching in the College for Civil Engineering in Serev and deputy of Chief Experts Group in Serev and Amsila. In 1990, 6 months individual practice at Tom Brown Architects in Toronto, Canada. From 1990, partner and co-founder Драховски and Pastor Architects, Kosice together with Peter Pastor. From 1992, authorized architect of Slovak Chamber of Architects. From 2007 till 2011, chief city architect of Kosice, Slovakia. From 1993, teaching at Technical University of Kosice at Department of Design. From 1998, at Department of Architecture. From 2003, professor of International Academy of Architecture, Sofia. Author and co-author of several buildings in Kosice and the region of Kosice, awarded with Jurkovic Prize and nominated for Caesar Prize.
That's the latest one. That's the last one. Thank you. Yes. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. I came from a country with many different natures, and this is one of our very nice high Tatras mountains area. And thank you for my predecessors to speaking about the nature, speaking about the philosophy and geometry. And it gives me the privilege to continue with a little bit with the sustainability in architecture in the cities. Coming to Sofia for INTERARCH, I have always special feelings, experiences, and memories. I came here first time in '85 as a young or still young architect, but already with 3 years experience working as a junior expert in Algeria. And up to this time, it was a Czechoslovak-Algerian agreement. In 80s were still a time of a curtain iron. It had been in between the Western and Eastern Europe. At the time, my colleague Josef Smida, our representative here, introduced me to Georgy Stoilov, and at that time he was for me as a pope of all architects, and he still is. He has succeeded to bring Western architects to present their works, and he succeeded to allow us to come here, to listen to them, and also to present our works here. So let me contribute to Georgy Stoilov with this presentation. Next, please. Coming to Sofia, as I told, I every time has a very nice experience. Last two Biennale or Triennale, I came here with my students and crossing by car and crossing the countries in between Slovakia and Bulgaria. We visited several cities. We look at the construction and buildings built during the period, during centuries before, and discovered the state of those buildings. Next, please. Well, I will try. Yeah. You see that those structure still stays, but what is the sustainability in one of the sense, because sustainability has a lot of senses. For me, as an architect, it is that we will abandon those structure. It is that we will let them be demolished. It is that we will not take the care of such a marvelous buildings, details, design. Is it that we will not take care of them and let it be really deteriorated from the very past or from the modern age? No, I don't think that the sustainability for us as an architect is such a way. I think that the sustainability is really to give a new life, a new vision also to the construction and to the buildings we are living in, we are crossing nearby. And we see that in those cities, there are also examples that our colleagues are taking care of them and that they are reconstructed very carefully with the detailing, with the very nice space you can admire by visiting those cities, with the reconstruction and reuse for the traditional purposes, for showing the traditional culture, the regional culture as we live in. And also reconstructing our fortresses for another purpose, for the new cultural life. Reconstructing even the streets for the bicycles. and also wonderful things that have been reconstructed here in Sofia. So I will pay attention or ask to take attention to a small part of my city where I have been with this sustainability trying to take care of the buildings which are one of the oldest area in Košice city. This is a Košice city, and the red part is a core of the city, historical core. From that historical core, you see the area where we will talk about the reconstruction. The sustainability is not a very fast way. It is a long way, and me and my colleagues in my office, we are taking care of this area already more than 10 years. This is the one part of this area which has been reconstructed slowly with several funds, with several supports, with discussion with the mayor, with discussion with the directors of museum, with discussion of the people of the street, with discussion of the population, and even discussion with the craftsmen in order to fulfill their needs to reconstruct it, to reconstruct this area. The area is called Hetzman Bastion, or Hetzman area, or Hetzman flat or court, because the building here is one of the oldest building in Košice, which is based to the 13th century, and it stayed even before the walls of Košice were erected. This is the area which I will present you, and these are the two houses as a execution, or Hetzman or executioner building and prison, and executioner flat up above the small street. Then there, Then there has been there has been a gate here, and there has been erected a bastion in front of, and all that area was abandoned. And here is a small plot. Here were the walls of the city, and here is a small plot which stayed abandoned, and I will show you the operation of the whole area. This is another thing, and this is the museum or the building which is one of the oldest from our town. This is the executioner flat up above the small street, in the state where it was when we came, and I was asked and commissioned to take care and to renew it. This is the area we visited, and the stay as it was. The door from the flat without any entrance. The other side, and the courtyard inside the executioner bastion. The inside of the house up about the street with the very serious damages. And this is the layout, what we discovered and how we worked. This is the real bastion, called executioner bastion, and this up about is a flat. The area has had in this side a house before, and when the house was destroyed, the whole wall, because of the heavy construction up about, declined and deteriorated, and it was almost damaged. Therefore, we have studied the things, how to remind the house inside, but at the same time, how to strengthen this wall with what construction, and at the same time to give the disabled the possibility to raise up by the elevator and support the accessibility for the house. We also tried to make another steps here in order that someone can go through the house, which is up about, this is the street, about the street. Of course, reconstruct everything and go to the yard of executioner. These are some sketches, preliminary sketches and 3D for approval, and at the same time to make, to show new discoveries for the people. And brick construction and all these construction, which is an elevator support in that area, what you have seen before, are giving the new life, new use, and I think also a possibility to visit to all colleagues and visitors to see the discoveries from Košice site. Of course, as originally it was the wooden structure here you have seen, we continue as a wooden structure even in our time, and only few metal structure and detailing were added and made. From the other side, we created from the door the new staircase to go to the area which is large enough to be used for very many Košice events during the Košice days, which has been just now the 7th of May. Because the 7th of May is day when Košice got as a first city of Europe the coat of arms, not as a person, but as a city from 14th century. These are the admiration, my admiration to wood structure combining with the new steel elements, and pay tribute a little bit also to the natural form as the trees and as the nature grows. Because as I am very regional and also very organic orientated, I'm trying to use always a combination, and we are trying to always use the combination of natural materials with the new techniques. This is the old view to the courtyard of the bastion, and this is the new one with the stage for many purposes, for many events, and behind you will see, and I will present you craftsman house and craftsman yard. The construction, the metal, new metal construction sittings are combined with the form of protection door in a wall in between the yards. This is the look at the executioner bastion, a historical look. This is when it was just before we came, and these are the bastion's chamber at the state, filling with many storage and things that were really almost abandoned. You see here the chambers where the cannons and rifles were in a bastion, and how we propose to use it for a new purpose. And this is the reconstruction view after our operation. The same picture as you have seen before for the chambers and for the corridor inside. And all of you who knows what is the reconstruction and discussion between architect and protection monument office knows that this task is not as a prominence on the Flourish Garden, and knows that also new requirements now for the fire or also for the ventilation, or also to have security, or also to have in every chamber as many possibilities to connect to internet, and all these facilities are a very hard task to any architect. But we finally succeeded to manage and to give all these facilities inside. And this is the original excavation and how it was abandoned or not seen during the centuries. And this is the reconstruction from inside, and the only one window which stayed original from the very last period, and the window from outside. as it looks. And this is the sort of modular or museum. And all these facilities, as I told you, are covered inside. So you can open it, you can plug in, you can have even a conference for any purposes here. The other thing is, as I told you, the craftsman house and the craftsman yard. The area here was the only one free which crosses the fortification system of Košice, and this fortification system, of course, there was a dam here, and we have a chance to make research through all this area, and then later to present to citizens how the fortifications were during the centuries. Well, there were several curtains, but this is the most closer to the city. This is the place where the house was lately erected, and this is abandoned place, and you see the excavation and research, and there was also a big power station, electricity to be removed from, and many things, and these already are some results to remind the original structure, which is really based on the foundations of the original wall, because all those houses and has been erected combining houses with when the original wall was demolished. This is an entrance in, and craftsman house as it is. Of course, when you are asking to make reconstruction or adding something in the street which launches the original wall, you always has hesitation or how to do it in order to make a house, but also to pay attention to having a possibility to cross and still use the yard. And we propose to make a house but cut it like with a very sharp knife. All this is a glazed wooden structure, but to cover it with the net, which is one of the oldest craft in the world, and this appears from both sides of the house, and this is the coverage of the dam. So the citizens or visitors may go there and look inside how deep it was and what it was. Of course, for the purpose of using the courtyard as the craftsman yard, you have to have a stand. But if you have to have a stand, you have two possibilities. Either the stand will be there, and when it is not used, to remove it, or either you have to have a stand which is opening and closing, and it stays always on that place. To move the stand out, you are facing always the problem of transport and facing the problem of not demolishing, but not to taking good care of. So with the really the using what is the natural growth, we have been designing the structure which open those windows up, and it supports from inside. The same for the table here, and those coverage are here as a banks. You can put it out, and these are the banks for the craftsmen, so they may use it during the day when they show their products to the citizens. Of course, there was a demand also to make something good for kids and for the children. So every time when the medieval wars were attacked, they brought also the attacking tower, the attacking tower on a wheel, and the attacking tower has, as you know, the construction that was open, and they fired to the walls, and from here they climbed the walls. So we made this structure as a children playground, even with the bump which pushed to the door of the wall, and this is like sitting and playing, and this is for climbing or going down for the children, for the kids. And these are the detailing from the other side. And the same structure, the net, which is used outside, is used for detailing inside, for making a museum inside, or a presentation room, not a museum. It is a presentation room for many purposes. So it changes every month for another craft, and at the same time you have a glazed floor, in order that underneath you see the real basement and a real basic of the wall of the city of Košice. These are the two woods you have seen in the previous slides, and this gives a real new life to whole area and to use for the citizens. This is the real excavation and real dam as it was, with the contra escarpa, with escarpa and contra escarpa, and all walls as it has been discovered by our colleagues. Just to mention this area, which we have been taking care for quite a long time, I would just add some two of our masterpieces, also with the philosophy of sustainability. This is the Hotel Banco, which we have renewed already in 1994, nearby the Košice, and it has been very abandoned, but we added many things here: entrance, swimming pool indoor, and yacht, and it is as it looks now, with the swimming pool in and with the small bridge in between the hotel and the swimming pool. And another example of sustainability, because many of our citizens live in the suburbs, it's housing estates around the cities. And there were, during the Curtain War period, there were no spiritual places. There were no spiritual places at all. So to keep these alive, we have made a church in that area, a church of God Mercy, and that church has been given the silver medal in Triennale 2015. This is a part of our work, and this is a philosophy of our life in the office. You see the picture of famous native painter from Kovačica about how Slovak people are going from Bratislava and from mountains to area very nearby here to Kovačica, and how they live there and how they amuse there, and a philosophy with what we are working on, that I'm observing in detail the place where I came from. I'm repeating its stories. I'm singing its songs. I'm defending its language, because all these are doing of me what am I. And if I don't do it, and I don't do it now, who will do? Thank you for your attention.
Thank you for the great presentations. These were the first 4 presentations of today's program. Now it's time for a lunch break. Special thanks to the lecturers for inspiring us, and thank you all for being here. We start again at 3 p.m.